instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Well, welcome, golfers, back again to the Flagstick Podcast, which is sponsored once again this week by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country with over 400 fairways, closer than you can imagine. Top-tier accommodations and exquisite culinary experiences. It's the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book those golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. All right, well, just before we jump into it, I want to remind you to make sure that you're following us across all of our social media networks, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and sometime or another we'll do something with TikTok, but who knows, because with everything's going on with TikTok.
There's a couple of things there, but we'll see.
Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, and we really do encourage, as always, to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can show you some of that good stuff that we do in video, show the faces. Like us and hit the notification bell to make sure you never miss a single episode, and contests and stuff are coming, so you want to get into that because we won't do those. Definitely. We'll only do those on YouTube. So
well, I'd like to say, the people are definitely starting to subscribe there, which is great. Planning some other content to go on there. And like you said, we're going to do our contesting on there. So if people want to get subscribed right now.
Yes, this is not the only thing on our YouTube channel, people.
No.
The Flagstick channel. It's a Flagstick YouTube channel, not the Flagstick podcast YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of stuff. Golf instruction. Travel stuff, equipment
reviews,
stuff, lots of stuff on there. So it's not just a 1 hour podcast listening to these goofs talk. Okay, so
I got some stuff sitting on my desk that I'm ready to do some reviews on. So
nice.
We'll chat about that soon. And who knows, we may do some live stuff as well with the YouTube channel. And as we get into the golf season here too, we've got the opportunity to do some things outside, playing wise, some of our events. Yeah, sometime.
Minus friggin' 10 out today where I am. You're in the nation's capital, and good Lord, you think that the snow is never going to melt completely because it doesn't seem to want to go away.
Yeah. Well, we do. I will say we do have, obviously the Kevin Heane Golf Center is open. We do have a couple other ranges that are opening in the Eastern Ontario region this weekend. Opening calendar is going to go up today. Thanks for the millions.
So I got some work to do is what you're saying. I got banners to put up and stuff.
Let's just say there's been a lot of people crushing the website with searches, and obviously coming up with the 22 calendar, which still has some embedded dates because it's really a legacy of the same calendar, but it's obviously not the same post. But lots of people are obviously searching. We don't have a lot yet, mostly just ranges. Golf courses are not really projecting much out yet, but definitely thank you to all the golf course people and range facilities that have reached out so far. I know there's a lot more that are going to have some projected dates out there, so just send them in as soon as you got them for projected dates. Really appreciate that, and we definitely tell you that is a popular post this time of year.
It is, and I can tell you right now, based on what I'm seeing, because I've been doing a lot of web work lately, especially in the back end part of the website, and I can tell you right now, the traffic
is
the traffic on flagstick.com has gotten a little bit crazy. I mean, no complaints. No, complaining. You'll never hear me complain. But goodness gracious, traffic is the numbers are going through the roof right now, and it's only going to get more and more traffic over the next little while, and then through the season. So, thanks for that.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
So, what do we got going on today? It's been a while since we chatted.
It has been. It's been a couple of weeks, but we've had a lot of things in the go. You've had some stuff that you've had to do, and
I had to go play golf in the US. So
there's a reason why I'm not bringing it up. Your good friend Noah Steele, got married, and you and Derek were down there. Derek McDonald from Royal Ottawa were down there. So cool. Happy for Noah and for his wife Paige, right?
Yep. Yes, correct.
Got it.
Good job.
See, Noah, got it. But we won't talk about Noah's wedding. Down there it was great. I saw the pictures.
Nice family trip.
There was some golf.
Golf. You sound bitter.
I'm not bitter. I do have a bit of the golf bug, but I mean, it's no lie. People do know that I do a lot of hockey
stuff,
instruction over the winter. So,
yeah.
TPC on the hat. I do a lot of that over the winter. So I kind of do not think as much about golf all the time, but I'm kind of getting to, my hockey stuff is winding down a bit, though I do a lot over the summer too, but I'm starting to get the golf. I looked at my clubs the other day, I kind of grabbed the grips. The grips feel good. Everything was pretty fresh last year. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting out and getting a full season out of them. And my youngest, Brandon, is he's looking forward to golfing. He's got to hook him up with all new this year because
they
somehow the kid went under a 6-inch growth spurt in the last 12 months. So his junior clubs are a little small.
Yeah.
So he sometimes does not believe that they're small.
I know.
It's not the length of them. That
it's just the feel of it.
The feel that they're too light.
Yeah.
I mean, they're too light.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. Having had the opportunity to get away a couple times over the last month and a bit and get 2 rounds total outside.
Ooh.
Once you get outside and you hit a ball off grass again, there's just something that sort of hooks you in, and it's just, you can hit as many balls as you want inside. I love to obviously have the opportunity, and everybody else does, the opportunity to kind of keep your game as sharp as you can in the wintertime, but there's no substitute for getting outside, being surrounded by nature, and hitting a golf ball off grass. I mean, once you do it, it's like, oh man, let's go. And obviously with the Masters coming up, that's sort of the start of the season for a lot of people when they start to really think about getting outside, and that leads into our show today.
Exactly. Yeah, good bridge there, buddy. We do have a great show. We are going to have some discussion about the recently played match play. And we're going to talk match play versus stroke play a little bit. And we're going to get into some early Masters chatter because it's only a week away, but there is some noise surrounding it this year. Of course. And in the back nine this week, we're going to talk about the golf ball rollback. This is a pretty hot topic right now. A lot of discussion across social media about it right now. Some PGA Tour guys saying they don't like it. Some PGA Tour guys saying that they don't mind it. So we want to talk about that. Now we're going to give our top-notch expert opinion, and therefore you shall listen. And but that's in the back nine. But let's start the front nine off. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Yes, golf season may be, and I stress may be, closer than you think. So don't wait to save on your golf this season. Buy a membership, join a league, or purchase some game packs and be ready to hit the first tee when the snow does clear and we are golfing. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop now.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yes,
it really will.
It will.
I know you look
like 10 degrees. It's minus 10 right now. It's supposed to get up to 10 degrees today. I don't know how that's even How is that even like? That's just crazy. It's crazy.
Have you ever opened your fridge and left it open for a while? Things warm up.
Yeah, I know, but still, this is nuts. It's nuts. Everything melts and then it freezes. Okay, I don't want to talk about the weather. I want to talk about the Dell Match Play just finished.
Yeah, last WGC
Dell Match Play.
Last match play for now, maybe.
Exactly.
On the PGA Tour.
It's interesting because the final match was a good match.
Yeah, I mean,
but the consolation match was probably more.
It was the one that people wanted to see.
Yeah,
but
it didn't make it any. It didn't make one match any better to watch as far as the golf goes. Right. So this is, I think, sometimes you have to, and this is kind of that where you get into that LIV PGA Tour, stars over there, stars over here thing. Here's the thing: we watch golf for a number of different reasons. Some people watch golf because they watch the golfers. We want to see Tiger win. We want to see Rory. We want to see Jason Day. Yeah. I watch golf for the golf. So when I watch it on TV, I'm not turning on the TV to watch Scotty Scheffler play Rory McIlroy.
Right.
I'm watching it to watch the championship match of the Dell Match Play Championship, the WGC event. Sure. I don't care. The two guys that in it, they're not big names. They're big. They are big names. They're on the freaking PGA Tour. They're in the championship. They're big names.
The
just
rising
because they're not
stars.
marquee names doesn't make the
Right.
golf any less exciting.
Yes,
The golf was
exactly.
exciting. The match was exciting.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to
Well,
me.
here's a good analogy. This year, I've watched more of the
By the way,
women's.
sorry, do you like my faded Tim Hortons cup? Those
Yeah,
watching on YouTube can see this Tim Hortons cup is off the
I,
chains, man.
I
Look
guess.
at the
I guess.
handle. If you're watching on YouTube, look at the handle. It's like bright, almost brand new, and this part
Oh
is
my
like
God.
faded. It's ugly. Anyway,
Okay.
okay, go ahead, Scott. Sorry to interrupt.
Tim Hortons either needs to send you something, or I guess I know what I need to buy you for your next birthday.
There you go, because I will not spend the money myself.
I've watched more NCAA women's basketball in the final in March Madness this year than I've watched on the men's side. And I'm watching because I'm watching for the quality of the basketball. I'm not watching just for the, the level of the teams or the known names or things like that. But again, that's everybody else's preference as far as what they do want to do when it comes to golf. But yeah, that match, just because the match between Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy was not for the championship, didn't make it any less of a match.
No.
Right.
Great
match. And frankly, Cam Young and Sam Burns. Sam Burns is an up and coming player. That's his 5th PGA Tour win. He's only 26 years old.
Yeah, he's up and coming, all right.
Yeah, he's
I think he's already up and come.
Well, that's exactly it. He's already within 100,000 now of winning $20 million on the PGA Tour. So, he's performing well. So, just because it's not we'll call it the household name, right? Because the thing is that if you're a diehard golfer, you already know who Sam Burns and Cam Young are.
Of course
right?
you do.
So it's the people that are not the diehard golfer. And I get, maybe the sport trying to appeal to those other people, but golf in the end is a niche sport. So we have to understand that, we're trying to build the game for the future. And that means having more good players and names. I mean, I don't need a player to dominate the PGA Tour. There's obviously players that are having some success that way and they become popular that way and they become well known that way. But the quality of play by Sam Burns can't be knocked down. That said, I understand the logistics issues with match play for something like the PGA Tour.
Yeah, it's tough.
This match was over with an hour left of their window, as far as TV time. They were handing out the championship trophy while the other match was still going on. You know what? While it seems to be a problem for TV and for sponsors, it's not really a problem for the event and for golf.
No.
But I think the issue becomes more here is not so much of, where does that fit on the tour? And, we've had match play on the tour for a long while, but, is there more need for match play? And are we going to miss it now if it's not on the PGA Tour? I mean, would you like to see, for an example, another match play event on the PGA Tour?
Oof, that's a good one.
I mean, we play matches when we play.
We
rarely play stroke play.
My personal preference is always match play. I'm not a stroke player because maybe it's because I don't. When you and I play,
yeah,
there's a vast difference. Although you think you're as good as I am, there's a vast difference between. Oh, is that the other way around? There's a vast difference between the skill level. Now, when we play match play, you don't give me strokes. We play match play. We play matches, and we go from the same tees head to head, which is a little bit, it's a little bit cheesy on your part, but
wow, shots fired.
Yeah, but that's what we do. When I play golf with Brandon, my youngest son, we play match play.
Sure,
we don't play stroke play.
And you don't give him strokes. That's a little cheesy on your part.
No, it isn't because he thinks he's better than me. So it's more of a mental. He believes he's better than me, even though I know he's not. So I'm not going to give him strokes because he doesn't want them because he thinks he should be giving me strokes based on how he thinks. How good he thinks it is. Anyway,
sorry, Brandon.
Point being, I love match play. Way more than I like playing stroke play. I love match play. I love team competition. I love team match play. I love all of that aspect of it. Now, that said, do I want to see it on the PGA Tour?
Even for 1 week a year.
For 1 week a year, I can deal with it.
I'm not talking about every week.
I watched the match play. I enjoyed it. I watched it. I was intrigued by it. I was invested in it a little bit. Am I watching the Valero Texas Open? I don't know.
You watch the match play, but you're not going to watch the Valero. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. There's some compelling stories that obviously come from the match play. I get it that they adjusted it over the years to make sure that the stars were there for more than one day. Obviously, they went to the pool play, and that just ensured that those top players were there, and it wasn't one and they were out.
Yeah.
Um, my proposal that I've talked to about some other different things is, you could have, like it's done at a lot of big amateur championships, play 36 stroke play and then play your match play.
Yes.
you
Now
know
that okay. So now we're
do a
getting into
combo.
it. Now we're getting to it because that's your cut, right?
That's your
So
cut, but
you
it's
bring your
also,
guys out, you play your 36
yeah,
holes of stroke play, and then you take your top whatever number it is that you need to fit it
yeah,
into your
the
weekend,
matches, sure.
your matches, and say, okay, well, it's the top. If normally it's the top, 72 in ties that make it through, well, then make that cut a little bit deeper, so then maybe
Yeah,
it's the
six,
top
16
64,
or 8. Well,
or sorry, the top
you
sorry top 32 or the top
yeah, you
16.
couldn't yeah, you'd have to get down to 16 to get your matches in
You
at
know,
minimum, or 8.
and then that means that just maybe from a prize money standpoint, maybe you're normally you don't pay anybody that doesn't make the cut. Maybe there's minimums on that as well, right?
Yeah,
Like so,
you'd still pay down or whatever, but the whole point is that you're rewarding the players that play are hot as far as
yeah,
their play is
yeah,
concerned.
yeah,
So
for
chances
sure.
are you're going to get some better matches later on. Again, you're never gonna guarantee the marquee names. And I get sponsors wanting, especially sponsors that are not really, after the diehard golf demographic, but they're, although they should be, but they're after just like the general golf, interest person that's just
Hmm.
turning it on TV, the sports fan more than anything. They should realize that they're investing in golf. So
And what's interesting too, Scott, is sorry to cut you off, but
yeah, no
when you're
problem.
talking about qualifying for the match play, now right now it's top 64 in the world,
Yeah,
in the world rankings. Now
yeah.
I'd like to shove. Now that's fine for the WGC events because they're World Golf Championship events, so they include the world. I would
Hmm.
like to see if it's a PGA Tour based thing. Let's see it based off the FedEx Cup standings. If they're not going to do a Thursday Friday qualifier, let's do it based off the FedEx Cup standings that at that time that they select the field.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
where you're at a certain point is how you
sure.
qualify, and it's based on that season. It's not based on 2 years before. Because that's where I think with the world ranking stuff, sometimes I'm not saying the
Yeah.
world rankings is
No, they definitely need some
hoopla or
adjustments.
anything like
Yeah,
that,
but
but
they definitely need some adjustments, and that's well known. But you're right. You want the best players at the time
yeah,
going into that event.
yeah.
But
So if you're going to do
but
it on that basis, then do it based on the
yeah,
PGA Tour
right.
and have it based on that year.
Now, what are
Uh,
your thoughts on this? And this is something I've bandied about a few times in a few places or whatever. What about the PGA Championship, which doesn't really have an identity? Doesn't have a lot of identity. What about it going back to match play? It was match play. It used to be match play, long time ago, before us. But what about that event? Looking at doing that type of format where it's, obviously you've got a couple rounds of stroke play and then you get your matches and then you work your way down. I mean, here's a way for a major that, tends to kind of fall by the wayside for a lot of people
yeah,
to have a little bit of an identity.
I think that's a tougher one. I mean, I think I would agree that maybe that is a good idea. I'm not so sure that that one would fly as much with the players, only because the more recent length of history would dictate that that's one of the majors and it's a stroke play event, and that if it's
Yeah,
match play, then I
but
think
it's
maybe
also but it's also run by the PGA of America. It's
no, and
not
I
a
get that,
PGA Tour
but I
event.
mean, weren't other tournaments? Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
That's a tough
let's
one.
just
That's
say
a
this.
tough one to turn a
Let's
major
just
into a match play tournament. I don't know if
Well,
that.
all you're doing is returning it back to a
I
match play
understand that, but
tournament.
I mean, we're returning it to something that was. I don't know. That's a tough one, Scott, because there is a history of it being a match play event. So bringing it back to a match play event, is not really taking away from its history because its history goes beyond the
Right.
stroke play.
Yeah.
So, that's a tougher one.
Yeah.
If you're
I
saying that
guess.
about the Masters or the U.S. Open,
Yeah.
I'd say, maybe
I
not.
I mean, tennis is match play.
Oh my God.
Right? So a lot of people
Maybe we should have had this conversation more before we came on the podcast.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people, look at it and they're like, okay, maybe it doesn't identify the best golfer because all you're having to do is you're having to beat the person in front of you, right? So that tends to be an argument for a lot of games.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden you could have two players that are really hot and they have to face each other. So you don't get to face the entire field.
That's true too.
Yeah,
that's true too, because you don't necessarily play against the two best players don't necessarily play each other because it's a bracket system, right? So
right, exactly. But again, if tennis can do it,
but doesn't that happen in all sports, like the Stanley Cup? I mean,
the
two best teams could be in the East. The two best teams could be in the East, and the team in the West ends up getting to the finals and losing to the team in the East. Well, when realistically the conference final was the Stanley Cup final, right?
Right. The only difference is that, those activities in sports have a full time. Tennis tends to go longer, but it could go shorter, right? So think about that. Golf versus tennis, people freak out because all of a sudden the matches are done, but a tennis match gets done early.
Oh, 100%. Guy can get rolled in straight sets pretty easily with 6-love, and that take an hour to. I mean, you see it all the time. It only took an hour or 55 minutes when other guys are going 4 hours for a five-setter, right?
Yet people freak out when there's a 6 and 5 final at a WGC Dell Match Play.
Yeah.
So
people freak out. I don't freak out about that kind of stuff, but
I don't either.
The PGA Championship is an interesting one.
Even a event. I mean, that's the thing. I don't, again, I'm not riding hard for it has to be the PGA Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying I would like to see a match play event included on the PGA Tour.
Well, what if maybe they should take a look at the PGA Tour schedule and choose one of the events and maybe one of the organizers of that event would like to be the one to kind of pioneer this idea. Because wasn't it the International was played at Firestone Country Club in Akron for years, and it was the Stableford.
Oh no, event, no, it was played in Denver at the it was played in Denver, Castle Pines, sorry.
Yeah. So it was a different event, right? And it still got.
I mean, we still have the Barracuda, so we still have a Stableford event.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I like the idea of that. So I mean, why can't you have a match play event as part of the PGA Tour schedule?
I think what you've got there is you've got an opportunity for one of the events, especially one of the non-designated events, to maybe do something different. But they've got to be willing to take that risk. And it really, in the end, it all comes down to economics. It all comes down to the sponsor.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
People have to realize that, all these events, not the majors, and not the Players Championship, they're run by tournament operators. So it's about risk for return. And that means those tournament operators independently going out and seeking all their sponsors. So they have to have the best possible outcome for their sponsors in order to retain those. This is not the PGA Tour's money, despite what people think. The PGA Tour doesn't put up the purses for all these different events. If you what, yeah, it's independent tournament operators that are running these events. So I think there's an opportunity there if someone's willing to take a risk, and maybe he's got a neat property, because I think that was one of the good things about the Austin Country Club. It was really set up well for match play. There's a lot of dramatic holes, some short par fours, a lot of elevation, so you get some kind of some funky bounces and stuff like that. And I think it made it for a fun format just to watch. So I'm gonna miss it. Let's just say that for me, that's sort of my final take on it.
I will miss it as well. And that is my final take on it.
All right.
Before we get into Masters talk, and then we got to take a break, so we might have to push the Masters talk into the back nine. Sure. But the regionally, the Ottawa PGA announced its schedule for the Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa tournament schedule season, and some pretty good lineup.
Actually, one of the first things right off the start, the Spring Open this year, which will be held at the Marshes on June 5th, will be played in Stableford format. So that's
go.
that's a change for it, and the reasoning for that more than anything is to, one, have a little bit of a mix it up, and also it's early in the year. A lot of people haven't had a chance to
I mean, we're
play.
talking about club professionals here,
Right? Who are
not
really,
guys that are like working on their,
Exactly. So everybody's out, just starting to crush it right now. I've been at a couple of golf courses in the last little while and talked to some operators. I mean, they're getting ready. They're opening a lot of boxes and hiring a lot of staff and doing some things right now. So, they're not going to have a lot of time to work on their games. So that spring open, that tended to be, a lower attendance event in some cases, just because players are just, they're not ready. They're playing, maybe they're playing the first round of the year, or, they're more a casual player, and maybe they don't want to be embarrassed by hitting some bad shots.
And depending on how
I've made a 9 on the first hole at the spring open before.
No, you don't want to do that. And depending on how they set this up,
yes.
if this were one of our events, for Stableford, we would be setting this golf course up to encourage birdies.
Yeah, and I mean,
you want to encourage it.
I think the Marsh is a good format for that.
Beautiful
just because 6 par 5s, 6 par 3s, 6 par 4s. So I think that's sort of baked in a little bit as they're
move the tees up on number 2 to encourage them to go for the green in 2. But that is the ultimate risk reward. If you move them up far enough, you can get home in 2 if you hit the right tee shot.
Yeah,
like that's a really interesting hole for this type of thing, because that hole is.
It's consistently voted.
I love that hole and hate that hole all at the same time
as the hardest golf hole in Eastern Ontario.
I would think that's probably accurate. Okay, so then the Summer Open June is in June 26th at the Whitetail Golf Club
at
Eganville, and then the Pro is at the Meadows.
Yeah, just around the corner from your place.
Yeah, exactly. Dave McDonald, the
director of golf there. And we should say, up in Whitetail, the Derek McDonald is the other Derek McDonald. Exactly, the director of golf there. But
welcome back,
Chris Learmoth.
Come
back from Miramichi, New Brunswick, to take on the head pro role there. So be looking forward to seeing him. Although
everybody liked the picture of him that's holding the
that's by us.
I love his jacket. His jacket is awesome.
Your jacket.
I love his jacket. He actually messaged me to let me know that he remembers the jacket situation. We'll leave it at that.
I did see him in the fall down in New Brunswick. We stopped in to see him at the club that he's at there. So.
Glad to see him back. Love Chris.
Yeah, for
Chris
sure.
Is awesome.
And then we had for the senior assistants and ladies, traditionally held at the Mississippi Golf Club on July 24th. And you can run down the last 3 there if you like.
Pro lady at Loch March.
That's traditional host for it.
Yeah, it's traditional host, and nobody does the ladies golf tournament better.
No, Danielle Nadeau makes it happen.
She is amazing. And Zone Championship at Greensmere.
Yeah, that's
2 days at Greensmere. That is going to be. Now, I haven't read the format of this. Are they going to do?
I assume they'll do both golf courses. Yeah. I assume they'll go
start on Legacy and go to Premier maybe. And
I'm not sure. I haven't got full word on that. The spring meeting for the PGA is coming up on Monday, so I'm sure all the details will be out then.
There you go. So Zone Championship. Now there is a fall championship, but sorry, it got cut off on my printout here. So the fall championship
is going to be at Rideau View. So nice to see the Rideau View Golf Club hosting a PGA of Ottawa event again, and with the fall championship, which is just a nice way for people to wrap up the season, get to see each other, and hopefully be able to take a little bit of a breather. Although September is always a struggle because you get all the kids going back to school, a lot of staff missing. So that tends to be a little harder sometimes to get people out for it. And then we'll have the follow-up on there. The one thing that's missing on that schedule that's just being confirmed, because it's not an individual event,
the match play
would be the Challenge Cup.
The Ping Challenge Cup.
Yeah, for sure. So which last year was at Highlands, and
hopefully I'm in a better
you're there.
I'll be in a better spot this year, hopefully, and we will get the match that everybody. Now you talk about marquee matchups in match play. This had to be the most talked about, discussed possible matchup of the 2022 golf season.
It didn't happen.
It never happened. match between assistant
Captains.
professionals captain Scott McLeod and golf pros captain, head professionals captain, this guy right here.
Yeah, I'm
Jeff
ready
Potter.
for it. Hey, I'm
ready
singles,
for it too.
I got my singles point last year. Of course, I had to take on Colin Orr instead of you, but I'm expecting another W. So
someone's a little overconfident.
Let's go. Come on, right now.
The season hasn't started. I plan to work on my game. No. I do not plan to work on my game at all. But I feel that I'm going to be hitting the ball much better because I am in a better mental space.
Okay.
To play golf this year.
All right. I like that.
So yeah, it's a better mental space.
Okay.
Other than that, I really don't have any additional advantages or that I've worked on. I'm a year older. Does that make me a year wiser, which makes me a year better?
Yes. I look forward to the match.
Whatever. Okay, we're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're gonna do a little Masters chat, and then we'll get into the whole golf ball thing.
Sounds good.
And we'll see where things lead from there. So stay with us. You've been listening, or you are listening to the Flagstick podcast, and we'll see you in a bit.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
Welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. We're going to jump right into our back nine presented by Golf Sim Gurus. Work on your game all year round and in the privacy of your own home. Custom golf simulator setups built to your specs to fit your budget. Visit golfsimgurus.ca to learn more. Now would be a good time to dive into that because the golf season's starting. So
if you want one for next year, book it now.
Yeah, because I know that Andy's busy. So he's got some projects. He's busy. Trust me.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to talk. The Masters is coming up in a week. Now, obviously, we just talked about we're going to do some more serious Masters talk next week on the podcast as it would be Masters.
The full giddy. It's Masters week.
The full Will Scott wear the green jacket or not?
Augusta National Women's Amateur is this week, so obviously people are getting a little bit hyped up already.
Exactly. So, but we do want to there are some lingering discussions, I suppose, going on surrounding the Masters right now. And we'd like to get those lingering discussions maybe in this week so we don't have to discuss those topics next week as much. Gotcha. Okay, so I guess right now the early money would be on Rory. With that's a little bit of Scheffler and Rahm thrown in there.
But it's the gamblers that are putting the money on Rory. So when I say putting the money on, he's the odds-on favorite because people are betting on him. It's not because from a skill level or that he's actually going to do that.
No,
it's the gamblers are right now putting a lot of their money in there. So if you check the casinos and how much money they're holding regarding, I've got something on my microphone here. If you're seeing how much the gamblers are putting on certain golfers, it's a lot going on to Rory. So
my money would be on Scheffler though. I'm sorry. Rory's Rory, but God, that guy plays well a lot.
Yeah, you know what I like.
I don't know what's up with that golf swing. But I think maybe that's part of the reason why I like it.
You know what, though? Here's the thing. What I like about Scheffler is mentally how he is.
He's so chill.
He's so chill. It doesn't look like, he'll say he's nervous. And obviously there's a special that's coming up here that's going to be on CBS with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, hosted by Trevor Immelman, and Scheffler is on there too. And Scheffler is going to talk, it's called 13 Jackets, I guess it's called. It's going to be on Saturday. It'll be showing. the thing is that Scheffler will tell you he was nervous. I mean, he obviously four putted the last hole last year,
Yeah.
but at that point it didn't really matter. But he just looks so calm, and I think that's really important as far as when you're dealing with that pressure. And here's the thing: he's just that much more confident now, based on how many
Yeah.
wins he's had since last year. So, yeah, it's the obvious choice for me as well, given he won last year. He's continued to play well. He's still in great form. Yeah, so how could you not look at
Well,
him?
if you look at the other two, you look at Rory, you look at Rahm.
Yeah.
Okay. And mentally and visually, these two guys, you can tell when they get rattled. You can
Right.
tell when they're not
Yeah.
happy and they're not feeling it. With Scheffler, he could be coming off of 3 consecutive 3-putts, and it
Yeah.
looks the same as if he came off of 3 consecutive birdies. Like, it just doesn't it doesn't seem a lot like, I mean, maybe Tiger to an extent. Tiger had a steely look to him all the time. Like, I'm
Right.
angry, get out of my way, I'm playing golf look.
Yeah.
And the emotion didn't come out in the same fashion. As he's not now visually, he's not Scheffler, but
No.
visually he's not Rory or Rahm either, where you could visibly see that he is off his rocker.
Yeah, and I think controlling those emotions is super important, because no matter what, it can affect your play, right?
100%.
So I'm going to try to dig up some Masters odds here, which I probably should have done
Some
beforehand.
odds.
Yeah.
So that would be, I mean, obviously those are your odds on favorites. There's going to be dark horses and stuff like that, but we'll get into that kind of discussion next week. We start talking more about the the way the course is going to play based on the weather, and it's supposed to be warmer, so that's plays in Tiger's favor as far as being able to stay loose for 4 straight days.
Do you expect him to contend though? And again,
I expect him to be there at some point or another during the 4 rounds. I think he'll make the cut. I think at some point or another he will be near the top of the leaderboard. Do I think that physically he can handle 4 rounds on that golf course? God, that's asking a lot, even of the greatest player, arguably the second greatest player of all time, right? I mean, that's but hey, he's surprised everybody before. It is Tiger Woods, so I mean, it is a golf course that he could probably close his eyes and make birdies on most of those greens.
Yeah, so I mean, he obviously knows the short game and stuff as well. There, so that obviously is his favor. And again, anybody who's done it, anybody who's sealed the deal at an event, has a whole different other gear than other players, because they want to win. They want to win it again, but they know what it takes to get it done.
But Augusta National is not It's not overpower me golf course.
I don't think so. Even
course management golf course. Even with all the length that they've added and the changes they've made and all that crap, he still hits it long enough. He still hits it. Maybe he hits it 10 or 15% shorter than the longest guys out there, but he still hits it long enough with every club in his bag. He can still hit it high. He can still hit it low. He can still fade it and draw it.
Especially given the conditions that are provided for them. So unless it's super, super soft, which it doesn't look like it's going to be, those golf balls run a long way. I mean, I'll go back to the course I played, and we'll get into that. But again, that's part of the conditioning of the golf courses. The course I played, 2 weeks ago, I chose not to play from the 7,500-yard tees, although I could have quite easily.
Yeah, well, you're in Texas, right?
I know, but I played from 7,000, but the ball was rolling 70, 80 yards. So it all
never rolls for me when I play.
Well, I'll tell you what, and this is not to flex my muscles or whatever, but
yes, it is.
Just to give you an example. A 580-yard par 5. You drove it?
So I thought you said you weren't going to flex your muscle. What the hell?
I had like 210 left.
Okay.
So it flew like the normal, right? Yeah. So normal carry distance.
And then rented an Uber, grabbed a cab,
pretty
took
much.
A bus, jumped on a train, took a plane, and
Where the difficulty came in that golf course, and it's a golf course, it was Blue Jack National, the Tiger designed.
Blue Jack.
Was the difficulty around the greens. They're firm and fast and lots of runoffs, and you had to be really, really precise. So yeah, the run off the tee actually could provide some issues as far as balls rolling off one side or the other. But but again, is distance always the factor there? We'll get to that in a minute here. But you're right. Almost any player, and we've seen it from a Zach Johnson or a Mike Weir. It doesn't really matter. These are skilled players. They can find their way around this golf course, and I think that's one of the great factors is that no player short of the super senior players, no player or the ones that are not on form are really, written off to start the week here. Yeah. Anybody can put it together as long as mentally they're there. Right. And like I said, I think that's an advantage for those players that have done it before, which brings us to some other players that
okay, so let's look at the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the elephant on the podcast.
We think it's an elephant in the room. I don't know if it is as much as people want to make it out to be.
I could care less anymore, but really, I mean, it's
notable.
I think so many of these arguments and stuff that revolve around the guys that are playing live golf. I just don't care anymore. I really don't. I've heard today they were talking something about Brooks Koepka, suggesting that maybe he made a mistake and shouldn't have left the PGA Tour. I doubt very much that Brooks Koepka thinks he made a mistake.
Well, he said it himself, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, does he really actually think he made a mistake, or is he just regretting the decision? Like I mean, to me, did he make a mistake leaving? He went because he wasn't playing as well, and he was going for some big money. Yeah, and maybe he thought he was imparting change, and going to something that was going to become bigger. I highly doubt that too many guys that went to LIV thought that this was a tour that was going to really rival the PGA Tour. The format just didn't.
Despite what they said.
Yeah, I know, but
whether they actually believed it or not, it's a whole different story.
Exactly. I mean, their contracts state that they can't talk negatively about about LIV Golf.
Well, most of the contracts are done in 2025, so we're going to see what's going to happen as far as if it's still around, what's going to continue. But the relevance this week is that obviously, the majors have come out and said, what their standards are going to be, and Augusta National has basically said any player that's qualified based on previous categories or whatever is welcome, which obviously includes players that have gone to the LIV League. So
and that I agree with 100%.
Sure,
you earned your spot. You shouldn't lose. Different from when you're talking about PGA Tour status, where you're part of something and you're leaving that to go to something else. You're violating an agreement, a contract.
Yeah,
this is different. You're qualified. Whether you're a past champion or you finished in the top whatever the year before.
The Masters is run by Augusta National Golf Club.
Exactly.
Right?
Same with the PGA. The same with the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
The PGA of America. They have standards. Same with the US Open. That's the USGA.
And the Open Championship.
And the Open Championship is the RNA. It's not the PGA. So
correct.
Those I'm totally on board with this. The question is, number one, how are these players going to fare? And number two, man, what are those threesomes going to be like? And those twosomes, I do not, because I mean, obviously they can jog the pairings on Thursday and Friday a little bit to ensure that there's not too much tension between certain players. But once you get to Saturday, it's kind of like people asking us on the Saturday of the Flagstick Open, they'd like to play with so-and-so, they'd like to be in this group. We accommodate the Saturday. When it comes to the Sunday, all bets are off. And this same thing here. Saturday, they can do what they can on Thursday and Friday. But come Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, all bets are off. You're playing with who you're playing with. And if Sergio is paired with Tiger or Tiger's paired with Phil, I mean,
I don't think
that's going to be.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as much of an issue as the media or a lot of other people would make it out to be. I mean, and I truly believe, I mean, even if you saw I don't know if you saw the press conference from, the LIV Golf League event in Orlando, but, players like Brooks were like, hey, man, I was just with GT. I've known him since I was 12 years old. We were together for a half an hour the other day and whatever. So I don't think there's as much drama or attention. I think a lot of people want to think there is. Right. There's not as much personal tension there as people think there is. I mean, guys are like, yeah, you know what? I don't like it when you're suing me as a tour member, but if you're doing whatever you need to do for your family, that's your choice.
Yeah.
Right? Don't judge me. So I don't think there's going to be as much tension. And I don't think you're going to catch that with the broadcast. CBS has basically said, they're going to treat it just like anything else. They're players. They're all there, as they should. They shouldn't be sit there dividing one or the other. There's no point as a broadcast team to provide criticism one way or the other, whether they went there or not went there, or whether they play in Japan or they play in South America or whatever the case, right? That's not really the point. So we're not going to see it from the broadcast standpoint. So I don't know if that's going to bring down the temperature a little bit. I 100% believe we're not going to see that on social media, because people just want controversy because it gives them something to talk about. If they don't have, if people don't have some intelligent takes on things to discuss, they just normally default. Their attractor is just to go to things controversial, and that tends to be a lot of the human nature, right?
Someone will catch a conversation between JT and Bryson on the putting green or some stupid thing, and next thing you know, it's a viral TikTok saying, JT scolding Bryson on his participation in LIV Golf. And it's like, I mean, while they were having a discussion about the steak they had at Applebee's the night before, or some stupid thing. Like, really, you're going to see some clickbait thumbnail someplace or whatever. And that's just, people chasing eyeballs. But we are going to see, I mean, if you look at the LIV League players that are in the field that are past champions of the Masters, Phil, Sergio, Dustin, Bubba, Charles, and Patrick, these are all past champions, and they're going to be back in the field. Yeah, we've got a whole other discussions about some of those people. And then along with Bryson Brooks, Cam Smith, which will be, nice to see, who's consistently been one of my picks through the years. Abraham Answer, Taylor Gooch, Jason Kokrak, Kevin Na, Neiman, Oosthuizen, Varner, and Pereira. So they're all qualified to come back and play. That's a strong group. Well, it's for the most part a strong group of players.
Yeah. They've obviously got a history of playing well. The only issue is that a lot of these guys have not played a lot of golf. You know what I mean? It's been a light schedule for them on the LIV League. So if you look at players like a Dustin or whatever, I mean, I think somebody said Dustin's only played like 22 competitive rounds since kind of the end of last season. So
it'll be interesting what the blowback is going to be if these guys that have been playing LIV League come to the Masters and crap the bed.
Yeah, one way or the other, I guess.
Either they come back and they play really well, like Dustin contends or Bubba contends, or whatever. They're up there on the top of the leaderboard, showing, hey, you know what? We left, we did our thing. You didn't think we were good enough to be on this tour. Look what we're doing.
I guess you're right.
The flip side of that is if guys come back having not really taken golf seriously and I'm not saying that they don't, but I mean, there's no pressure playing LIV League. No. None. They're all paid ahead of time.
Yeah.
Whether they make any money out of the event or not it's like fun golf for PGA Tour players.
Sure.
It's still good golf. They're still good players. They're still playing good golf courses.
Not the same pressure.
But it's not the same pressure.
Yeah.
But was it really for those particular guys? Some of them different positions in their lives as far as the money they were making. But does Dustin Johnson, when he tees it up in a PGA Tour event or in a major, really feel the same pressure that somebody that is playing in their first Masters or getting into their first major feels? He's already got boatloads of money in the bank, even though he's got boatloads more. He's already made his money. If he misses the cut and goes home, he's going home to a massive house with a bunch of cars and a big pool and a practice facility. I mean, I saw Jason Day's practice facility. That thing is incredible.
The barn?
Do you think Jason Day is worried about if he misses the cut where his next check's coming from?
No, his fridge is full no matter what.
So is he guy like Jason Day is playing for the trophy. He wants to win the green jacket. Dustin Johnson wants to win the green jacket. That's the pressure. The financial pressure doesn't exist. At the end of the day, if he doesn't win or make a cut, he's going back to not Jason
generally
Day,
if you're in the field for the Masters, you're not there to play for the money.
No, not unless it's your first one and you've qualified on your first year of the PGA Tour.
But even then, you have pressure. You're still trying to win the event. You're still trying to win.
Money doesn't last forever if you're only in your first or second year on the tour. But
right. Yeah.
A lot of these guys that we named, Gooch, Kokrak, Cam Smith, Brooks, Bryson. I mean, the Varner had money before he got there. But I mean, it's it is what it is.
Anyways, I think in the end, it'll be good to see them back. It'll make the Masters feel normal. And I think for anybody who doesn't want to listen to the BS that's going to come from it, and again, you're right, there's going to be judgment on whether they played well or they played poorly, and is that relative to them going there or whatever.
Media.
Turn off your social media. Just put your blinders on. Listen to what you want to hear. Put on your filters for the week. Put in your keywords that you don't want to hear about, and just move on and just don't dive into it. So,
exactly.
All right, couple last things before we kind of move on or whatever.
Yes.
Canadians in the field. Obviously we're a Canadian-based podcast, so we've got 4 that are qualified right now. Valero Texas Open is on this week, so this is the last chance for players to qualify. 3 players that have obviously been in here before. Mike Weir having won it before. Corey Connors, who's continually been obviously a contender. He's had a couple of top 10s here. Mackenzie Hughes obviously got a win again and in the field, and then a rookie. Adam Svensson is in the field. So, what are we expecting from the Canadians?
Well, I'm expecting more of the same from Corey Connors. I mean, he's just consistent. I expect him to play well. I expect him to make the cut. I expect him to be in some level of contention. Mackenzie Hughes played quite well at the match play.
And his putter. I mean, he was in the top 8 in the match play. I'm
expecting some good things from him. At the Masters, not expecting much from Weir.
No, I mean he's
past champion. He's it is what it is.
If he makes the cut like he did a couple of years ago, he's doing well there.
Although
he has been playing in good form on the Champions Tour, but again, Champions Tour is a little bit more hit.
Svenson's an interesting one because it is another guy that's been playing. He's been playing extremely consistent.
Yeah, he got a win,
and obviously to get here, he had to be. He's I mean, you'd like to think, they're all going to do well.
The only thing I worry about is Svensson is his putter tends to be hot and cold, which is why Hughes.
And you can't be hot and cold with your putter at Augusta. Like it's got to be. I mean, the only reason Mike Weir won the Masters the year he won the Masters because his putter was insane.
Yeah. So I think Hughes for me is probably the strongest among those 4. With Connors right behind them. Svensson really the dark horse, and I don't really
first have Masters
of Mike. Yeah, that's the hard part too.
A lot of intangibles there with the pressure and you put on yourself. Now, I don't think anybody's putting pressure on Svensson to do well. Whatever pressure he's feeling is on himself.
Right, but think what it's going to look like, back home and family coming down there, and it's a bit of a circus, right? You're playing in that Masters for the first time, so there's a lot of extra things that are maybe going to interfere with your preparation. And
whatever you do, don't win the par 3 contest. Don't. Nobody that's ever won the par 3 contest has ever won the Masters.
You think that really has a factor?
I don't think it does, but I mean the facts are the facts, man.
It's just a coincidence. But the par 3 course this year, whole new look. They've renovated, I guess
maybe that changes the superstition. It's a whole new look, so it's a whole new ball game. You can win it and be the first to win the par 3 competition on the newly renovated par 3 course.
Do you think
to win the Masters
tries to win the par 3 contest?
I don't think so.
Play.
But
I think they just play. They have their kids caddying, they have their buddies caddying, their family members.
I think they try everything they do not to win it.
Yeah, you see a lot of people that all of a sudden let their kid putt out, or their dad putt out, or their wife putt out, or whatever the case may be, just so they're not up on the board.
They don't want to win it. They don't want to win the par 3 contest. It's in their head. They can't not play in it, but they don't want to win it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really. I mean,
I'd be flat out. Trying to win that thing, man.
Getting a little extra crystal.
Can I hit your shot, Dad? No way, man. I need to drop some birds here.
I'm grinding.
I'm not going to win the Masters, but I'm going to win this bad boy right here.
Yeah, it's a cool event, and it's good to see that, hopefully the weather holds and we get some coverage of that.
Exactly.
But yeah, it'll be neat to see that.
All right,
And
next week we're gonna get into that.
One last note here.
Okay.
Watch for a special edition to the TSN coverage. It's got some Eastern Ontario ties. That's all I'm gonna say. I was communicating again with James Duthie yesterday, and I'll just let you know there's going to be a special element that's Eastern Ontario related. We'll leave it at that.
Are you gonna tell me about this?
I will tell you off air.
Okay, because you didn't tell. The note didn't tell me before, so I had no idea. You're leaving me in the dark because you don't want me to spill the beans if you do tell me, because you know I will.
I cannot spill the beans.
I don't keep secrets very well.
All right.
Fair
enough.
Okay. All right. Our last thing to get into on the back nine and for this week's podcast we want to talk about is hot topic around the golf world as of late is the rollback of the we should call it a proposed rollback.
Well,
it's not like a written in stone rule just yet.
God,
but the proposed rollback of the golf ball.
And I think that's the issue for some people. Is
let's clarify.
Yes.
First of all, let's clarify what the proposal is quickly, because I'm looking at what the actual proposal is. We're not reading this. But you, Scott McLeod, you're gonna generalize the proposal for the people. The people need to know. The proposed rollback and what it actually means of rollback. I mean, this isn't Walmart. We're not talking about rolling back prices here. We're talking about rolling back. So let's get into it. Scott McLeod, ladies and gentlemen, is going to summarize what the proposal is, and then we are going to pick the crap out of this. Okay.
So basically what's happened is the RNA and USGA, after multiple distance reports and going through a number of different things, talking to some different manufacturers, obviously they're still in a period where they're going to hear feedback, but they basically proposed a model local rule that gives competitions the option to use golf balls that have been tested under a new modified way to test golf balls. And basically what it is that there's an overall distance standard that the governing bodies test golf balls to. What they're going to do, or they're proposing to do, and we have to understand, we have a feedback period here until August 2023, and the earliest that this could be implemented would be 2026, would be January, which would be the next time that could be brought in. Basically, what they're looking at is changing the standard of testing the golf ball up to a higher club head speed to more represent the fastest players in the game. And basically, what would happen is current golf balls wouldn't meet that standard. So what it would mean was technically would be two different golf balls, one for elite competitors. If a group decided to, put this rule into play, that the top players would have to use this golf ball that could bring back their distance 10 to 15 yards for the longest players in the game. And that would mean testing golf balls at 127 miles an hour with 11-degree launch angle with 2200 spin, versus what they normally do now, which is a lower rate that they tested at, higher spin rate with a slightly higher launch. Does that clarify it in any possible way?
Okay, so here's the deal. Let's get into this a little bit here.
So let's break this down to make sure it's not designed to impact recreational golfers. Nothing would change for a recreational golfer.
Right.
There's nothing. It's not a rollback for the average male golfer who hits at 220, or the average female golfer who hits it less than that. That's not the case. This is all about elite competition at the highest levels of the game. So
where does that? Let's start with this.
Yeah.
Where does that line of elite competition
that's
get
a
drawn?
Big question, because right away we had DMs from people going, "Is the Flagstick Open an elite competition?" Right?
It is.
But are we talking about, Flagstick Open varies as far as who's in the field.
Exactly. So it is elite competition. So let me just clarify one thing here. We're not this year adopting any kind of golf ball thing.
Well, no, there's no rule relative.
There's no
to
rule
this.
to implement. I just want to make sure people understand. There's no rule. This is a proposal. So no, the Flagstick Open, nor the 2-ball championship, nor the
beep.
We're not talking about yet. Some people know what's happening, but there's no golf ball thing now.
No.
Where does that, if this proposal did get pushed through? So
this becomes the issue, right?
Where does that line get drawn?
Yeah.
Does your club championship qualify as elite?
No,
it qualifies you for other stuff potentially, right?
No, but elite competition is, people have to think about what elite is. The guy who plays at a +2 at your golf club is not elite. Sorry, he's good, but people have to realize that relative to the best players in the game.
So we're talking about, OVGA.
That's still not elite.
Provincial.
Not quite
Golf
elite.
Ontario.
No, we're getting to national, international level competitions, high level college play. But then that sort of, again, becomes up to the association there to determine where they're at and should they go with that ball or not. Because you got to remember, this is a local rule. They don't have to implement it. It's up to them if they want to implement it. So, if PGA Tour says, yes, we're going to do this, or PGA Tour says, no, we're not going to do this, but the RNA says, yes, we're going to have it.
So you play the Open Championship, or you play any event that's sanctioned by the RNA.
Yeah,
they doesn't necessarily mean the DP World Tour either. It just means anything that's sanctioned by the RNA.
Correct.
So you could have you could basically be looking as a player, as an elite player.
Yes.
You could be looking at different rules of play every single time you go to tee it up in an event.
Yeah, that's where sort of the mess gets there, because even think about it from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah,
if you're working with top level college players who have potentially the opportunity to move on in a professional career, at what point do you get them to work with the other golf balls, right? And here's the thing, think about this, and this is a big topic as well. If I look back and I remember sitting in a car at the diner around from your place having a phone conversation with Roger Cleveland about the groove issue.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember Roger saying to me, we're going to change a whole bunch of things here for these grooves that is going to cost us a bunch of money. That's not going to make a difference in the game. It'll make a difference maybe for players at the very top level of the game. So here's the thing, when we talk about golf balls, most of the elite players that play in the game, you're right, the top level professionals and so forth, they're not paying for golf balls, right? So if all of a sudden a manufacturer has to change out R&D, change out production, have a whole new production line,
that costs
a whole bunch of right.
Who pays for that crap though?
That's exactly it.
If they make a change for the PGA Tour and those guys that on the PGA Tour to make the game, to tighten up the distances that they're hitting the golf ball and so on, who pays for that? We pay for that. You pay for that. I pay for that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. When they say it doesn't affect the recreational golfer,
it doesn't. Huge.
It doesn't affect it from their change in their golf ball, but it could change in the how much they have to pay for their own golf ball.
Well, that and then in turn affects even more
everything.
So affects the manufacturing industry, because now they have to figure out a way to make golf balls for the recreational golfer cheaper, so that they can afford to continue to play. Because people, if you're paying $70 for a dozen of the top level Titleist or TaylorMade or Srixon ball, and you're comfortable with paying $60, $65, $70 for a dozen balls. If all of a sudden now that same dozen balls costing you $80,
right?
Are you going to then want to drop down and buy the $60 ball?
Well, pay
$80.
Think about that. I mean, the people are going to be upset because they're now paying. They're basically supplementing the professional game because of this change in rules. So again, there's a lot of complications that come from this, and you got to remember, this is a proposed period, and there are certain things that they've already said within this when they brought out this press release related to this, things that they're not planning to change. but this is a proposal and they're waiting to hear feedback. And, you know, a number of manufacturers have already stepped up, made their sentiments known, and most of them I didn't hear any that were for it, that's for sure. TaylorMade has taken the option of doing a consumer survey before they put anything out. Those results are actually just came out today. They had just under 45,000 people respond to their survey. And you know, I tweeted out. So if people want to go to @Flagstick on Twitter, you can see, you know, what the results of that survey were. I'll probably put them up on flagstick.com as well, so people can go to the website and see that. But they're exactly what you would expect. And, you know, I don't think everybody read to the letter of the law what the model local rule is. Obviously, just some of them would probably have the perception that, you know, automatically it's a rollback for them. And that's not what we're talking about. And certainly, you know, but that becomes an element that people are talking about, is going, well, if you do a rollback for them, the easiest way, you know, not to incur those extra costs or whatever, is to roll back for everyone. But, you know, again, that becomes another problem, because, you know, it's like taking away the long putter from somebody. You know, are you going to take away distance from, you know, your grandpa or your dad or the person that struggles to hit the ball far? I mean, distance is a skill. And that's why Rory has come out and said, oh, you know, maybe it should be just a rollback for everyone, just to make it not complicated. But I will say, within that survey, 81% of the people said they didn't agree with the proposed golf ball model rule. There's a lot more to it as far as different nuances and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem that a lot of people are in the favor. Some are, you know, there's certainly people that are arguing for it. You know, they're looking at land use and things like that. But you have to consider, are we just talking about less than 0. whatever % of the game and a few golf courses in the world that don't become relevant?
Okay, so here's a thought, or here's a take on this.
All right.
In every other professional sport that's out there, including tennis, where there are multiple manufacturers of tennis balls.
Yeah, but they have slowed down they did slow down the tennis ball.
There is a standard, but the standard is across the board.
Correct.
Okay, so the hockey puck is one, it's one weight, it's one size.
Yep.
There's no advantage or disadvantage of one hockey puck over another. Then they make training pucks that are heavier and lighter and different colors and stuff. But the standard across the entire sport is one specific puck. Yeah. In basketball or baseball or soccer, it's one ball, multiple manufacturers.
Short of baseball, where there's obviously there's aluminum bat versus wooden bat, but the ball is still.
But that's equipment. That's the same thing when it comes to amateur golf and professional golf. There's drivers out there that have more trampoline effect than others that are not conforming, that still exist. So same thing. So football, whatever it is. So when it comes to what's that?
No, go ahead. I know exactly where you're going.
Lacrosse, I'm sure, is the same thing. Softball.
You can run it down.
You just run it all the way down every sport. So golf would be the only sport that does not have a standard. So we shouldn't say that. There is a standard. The golf ball has to be a certain size.
Oh yeah, no, there's
the golf ball can only be a certain weight or whatever.
But the whole point is the standard is the same for everyone.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that the golfer who's at home wants to be able, despite the fact that they don't play a game that's anywhere near theirs, and there's a whole lot of other factors.
They want to play the same ball that the guys in the PGA Tour are playing.
Right. I mean, if you want to be a basketball player, you play on a 10-foot net. You don't want to see the NBA have 12-foot nets. You want to have the sort of the same standard, the same feel that, you know, you're playing the same game. And that is an element with the surveys and everything else. If all of a sudden it separates itself and it's a whole different game, that adds a weird element to the sport. It really, really does.
Well, the thing is too, if you're dialing back, like if your ultimate goal is to dial back how far these guys can hit the ball, or I mean, I don't really understand the technical side of things as much as maybe you do. But if the idea is that you want to make the longer hitters hit it shorter and the shorter hitters I don't understand how rolling the ball back can even accomplish that. If I hit it 300 now, and you roll back the ball so that the technology doesn't allow me to hit it 300, now I'm hitting it 280. Well, the guy that's hitting it 250 is going to hit it shorter too.
Yeah, well, it doesn't change the advantage. That's not really the point. The point is to look at, for them, they're looking at the facilities and how they can accommodate golf. And looking at golf courses like the old course, where all of a sudden they have to add a whole bunch of tees like out of bounds and stuff like this. But again, that becomes the worry of just the professional game or the game at the highest level.
Yeah.
But we've seen U.S. Opens at like Marion, it's only
Yep.
7,000 yards and different things this way. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't create a difference that way. If we look at the yardages when they measure as far as the professional tours, they've looked at, there's a bit of a yard average gain per year over the last 20 years. Obviously the biggest boost happened with the in 2000, when obviously solid core golf balls, and that was the biggest change. And there's lots of other factors we can get into, but there's lots of different things that happen why players get further and further. But yeah, this is not about separating one or the other, but it's definitely about limiting how far the ball can go overall. So I get their concerns to a certain point, but in the end, I don't think it's as dramatic as most people think it is, and that's obviously why we're in a period for consultation right
Okay,
now.
so we got about a minute here, Scott, before
Yeah.
we might have to take another break. Do you want to
Sure.
take another break on this and come back and talk a little bit more about it? Because I don't think that I can
Yeah, sure.
shut this down the way we're at right now. I think
right.
there's still a little bit more discussion to be had. So not intended, but we are going to do it because this is a good topic. We're going to take another quick little break. When we come back, Scott and I will continue our discussion about the golf ball, and then we'll close out the show. But stay with us. We'll be right back on the Flagstick podcast right after this.
Hey, loser buys the first round. You're on.
On Prince Edward Island, we believe in playing your game your way. From the first tee box to the 19th hole and beyond. With over 400 fairways waiting for you, there's always another reason to golf Prince Edward Island.
You're here on the Flagstick podcast with Scott and Jeff, and we're going to continue this golf ball rollback discussion.
Rollback, yeah.
Proposed rollback. We got to keep saying it's proposed because it is proposed, but
because otherwise just people make assumptions and they somehow think it's going to affect
people
them.
do not make assumptions, Scott. Nobody does. Nobody makes assumptions.
Yeah, it's good to get part of the story and then make a judgment, right?
Exactly. So I don't apologize for the podcast being a little longer. We kind of figured that it would be a little bit longer because of the topics, and in particular this topic would, we don't want to just kind of skirt across the surface of some topics. We want to get into a little bit. So
sure.
What does all of this sort of, where do you stand on it? I guess is my question for you, Scott. Where do you, I mean, I kind of know where I stand on it, but where do you stand on the proposal? Do you think that this is even necessary, or is this just another association stepping in and trying to regulate something that doesn't need to be regulated, much like the grooves on wedges, much like the size of a driver, the trampoline effect, all the, like, is this one of those things that you just don't need to, like, just doesn't need to happen? Do they really need to dial back the distance these guys are hitting it, or is the industry and the players just going to figure out a way to hit this rollback golf ball just as far?
Well, distance is a skill, right? So, I mean, it's something a player that, they work hard towards achieving.
Yes.
The issue becomes, more than anything, when you sit there and talk about, kind of limits, what are we trying to protect, right? I mean, that's the thing. I get it. That's
the golf courses, I would imagine. Is that what we're trying to protect? We're trying to protect the golf course?
But who are we trying to protect it from? I mean, here's the thing. If we're only trying to protect it from a very small percentage that play the game, to the detriment of other people that play the game. So I guess that's why they're trying to look at bifurcation, whether they say it's bifurcation or not, of having different rules for other people. But there's so many complications that come with doing that it makes it onerous for recreational golfers, as we talked about, as far as from a economic standpoint. It could have an impact on them, whether it does on playing or not. But, I don't care if players shoot 25 under. The lowest score wins.
everybody's playing the same golf course and on the same, not always on the same conditions because date and time.
Now I get it. They're not worried so much about what's happening now. They're worried about more for the future of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But my take is this: if you're worried about what's going to happen in the future, set your standard now and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's your limit. That's what you're doing. You don't need to all of a sudden keep changing the standard. If athletes get better, they get better.
Yeah.
You're trying to protect golf courses that, you're not going to protect. I mean, it's like this. Everybody gets upset when they host a top level tournament. I wouldn't say everybody. Some people get upset, committees and different things at golf courses where all of a sudden, hey, we're hosting a professional event. Oh boy, we better make the golf course tough because somehow it damages their ego if people come in and shoot a low score. Well, I guarantee you what, if you're going to host a professional event, you're probably going to see a 63 every day. It's going to happen. Your course record will fall. Just because a player hits it super, super far, it doesn't mean they're going to shoot 55. That's not going to happen. No. So are we protecting ego or, some sort of thing? Again, it goes back to the long putter and putting that long putter ban in place or whatever. Was there actually a distinct advantage? Statistically, yes. Hitting the ball further gives an advantage, but that doesn't mean that they need to take everybody backwards and put the genie back in the bottle. Just stop where things are right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to see a rollback for the general golfer. And I understand arguments by, I've had discussions with Ian Andrew, the architect, who talks about a safety issue as far as spray and getting into houses or whatever. But, that's more related to business more than anything. That's not really related to, the actual playing of the golf course. So I don't see golfers showing up for lessons going, I need to hit it shorter. They want to hit it further. Mm-hmm. Most of them don't hit it very far. Most don't hit it as far as they think they hit it.
Most should be focusing on hitting it straighter, not longer.
Yeah, and putting it in play and playing the game. I think there's more skills to the game than just yardage. And I think trying to change the game fundamentally overall for a very small percentage of people that play the game is a little bit misguided, and I get they're doing their research and they're doing their different things, but I'm not saying they're obviously the ultimate authority. And we're seeing blowback from consumers who maybe don't understand all aspects of it. So my take is that you've got a distance standard. You haven't changed your distance standard since 1976. You've got rules of how you do it. You've got rules of how you test golf balls. Let that stick. Yes, the average speed has maybe gotten faster, right? Mm-hmm. The average on the PGA Tour now is up to 114.6, but it's going to be self-regulating. Humans can only go so far. We're only capable of moving a club so fast. And players to be able to do that and still play a reasonable amount of game. This is not Ryan Gregnall swinging the golf club 156 miles an hour with a ball speed of 236. No. we saw that experiment for Bryson and see how that went.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, can we not forget that we had a guy that's now not on the PGA Tour, but was on the PGA Tour.
He won a U.S. Open.
In one tournament where I truly, truly saw that his
distance
plan of attack and his power worked. Now, if he does then, and his philosophy obviously was, if the further I hit it down there, even if I'm in the rough, if I've got a wedge in my hand, it's going to be a lot easier for me to control the ball coming out of the rough with a wedge than it will be if I'm trying to do it with a 7 or an 8 iron.
Which is true. But
now, it could have the problem with Bryson with his all of the stuff that he did, he was never a particularly good wedge player with that style. I think he was better player. I think he was a better golfer before he made all the changes than he was after he made it. But that worked for him for one U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It didn't work for him every single event he played in and every single, it didn't. And that was on golf courses that weren't set up for U.S. Open conditions. There's just.
So in essence, what I'm saying is it's self-regulated. It's self-regulated by the human body.
Yes.
Right. And the limitations of that. And we shouldn't take away the advantage of someone that they're created by training, right?
Right.
And training to get faster and rewarding them for that. That's their advantage that they've earned more than anything.
100%. 100%.
So, I think, again, it's self-regulating. The player that, ends up swinging. Yeah, will we see a PGA Tour player that can swing at 135 miles an hour on a regular basis? We might, but there's no guarantee they're going to win every tournament.
Well, and the thing is, you made a very good point there, that the game is about more than just how far you can hit it. The game is, there's a skill to the game, whether it's bunker play, short game, putting, distance control, flight control, all that kind of stuff. It's very seldom that you'll take a guy like a long drive guy that creates that much ball speed and that much club head speed that distance translates into a PGA Tour career or a professional golf career. It usually doesn't.
Again,
because you usually can't have the extreme of one without sacrificing the finesse of another. And
there's a reason why long driving is only, one ball out of a group, right? It's not every single ball or consistently. As we get faster, we bring in other factors as far as launch conditions with a golf ball.
The margin for error is significantly higher. I mean,
totally. It makes it more offline. So again, there's self-regulation that's already in place there. I think the thing is, it's about the greater good here. It's about the greater good for the game. And, we saw it in just a couple of things. And again, this is TaylorMade survey. They put it out there, but, you're talking about people that are looking at the game and going, man, you know what? How is it important for people to, to use the same equipment as professional golfers? 83% said it's moderately or extremely important that they're playing the same. Mm-hmm. So they want the game to be the same that way. So I think if you're focused so much on a small part of the game, you miss the growth and the health of the game. Golf is not professional golf.
I would agree 100% with that statement. And I would say that my general opinion about this is another agreement with you. Here we are, where we are. Mm-hmm. Stop the madness.
Yeah.
If you want to control it going forward from this point, then put the regulation is as it is. Yeah. You don't go backwards.
No, I mean,
and you don't go backwards in innovation. We're here. We're where we're at.
Yeah.
Let it go. Now, going forward, and I'm even kind of leery as to what the progression is moving forward. What more can they do to the golf ball to make it go further? Mm-hmm. I don't know that there's a lot that they can do to the ball, given the standards that they do have, to make the ball go farther without that also being something that has to be modified in the human
it's already regulated. Much like the equipment is regulated as far as size, the CT of the golf club or whatever. Those are things you cannot get around.
Yeah. So here we are. Let it go. So what if St. Andrews, the old course at St. Andrews is too short for the majority of the players on the tour now? So what? Yeah. I don't care. If they want to drive the 18th green, have at it.
They've been driving the 18th green for years.
Exactly. They just do it with 3 woods now.
Decades. Yeah, they've been doing it for decades.
They don't. That's the thing. Like there isn't enough guys out there that are doing. I mean, I watched the Open Championship when it was at St. Andrews. I didn't see a whole ton of guys driving that green. And I know that the guy that won wasn't driving the green.
And again, we go back to course conditions and things like that. I mean, I've played lots of times where you go and play a golf course and you can watch a million things online or whatever as far as films of different things. Some days the weather's crappy. Some days the drive that you hit, and believe me, weather has a huge factor on what happens with a golf ball. Some days you go out there and you create that certain amount of club head speed and you do all those different things, and that ball goes short by a lot from where you go. And other days, the fairways are fast and firm and the wind's with you and whatever, and the ball goes a long way. I think when you look at something like Dell Match Play, and all of a sudden all these numbers get posted up on TV, and people, wow, look at all those drives. Rory had one 400 and this. Well, yeah, but downwind, downhill, rock hard fairway. I mean, those are all factors. It's not the averages. Mm-hmm. It's not the averages that are there.
No, you even go back and watch some of those old Wonderful World of Golf. And you look at it, they were talking about, Nicholas and some of those guys back then, Palmer hitting 300-yard drives. with a freaking balata golf ball and a wooden persimmon headed driver. That's the size of most people's hybrid now, and they were hitting at 300 back then. Well, why were they hitting at 300? Because the conditions of the golf courses they were playing back then were not manicured to the point where they're soft as sponges.
Yeah,
they're hard and fast. Well, they're playing under those same conditions given the weather. They're playing under the same conditions now with the technology that they're using now. Of course, they're going to hit at 400 yards.
Because you have to also understand when the tour goes to certain areas, save for Pebble Beach and when they're on the West Coast in the springtime, most of the golf tournaments are at the locations that they are when it's peak weather for the season.
Yeah,
right. So I guarantee you, if you go and you play Bay Hill, if you go play in Bay Hill in January, versus March, and March was rock hard, and obviously you saw -9 end up winning there. I mean, the course defended itself, but all of a sudden you bring in wet conditions, windy conditions, or whatever. I mean, they're there when it's optimal. If you go play at St. Andrews in November versus playing we walked St. Andrews in November. If you see that versus how that golf course plays in July, when the Open is on, guess what? It's going to happen. So when
I watch the Open Championship, I'm literally sitting there before it starts praying for crappy weather for the week.
Yeah,
because when I watch the Open Championship, I don't particularly want to see someone win at 20 under par. I want to see, I grew up watching Open Championships where -1, -2.
But there still wasn't many of those. I mean, in most cases they were under par, but you
watched more carnage occur. You watch scores in major championships, U.S. Opens where Tiger
but I don't
Woods
care
at
whether it's
Pinehurst
20 under or 2 over.
I just want to see competitive golf.
Yeah.
And if someone runs away with a tournament, sure, it's not exciting on Sunday, but it's exciting to watch it happen.
Cam Smith and Rory last year was still pretty exciting to watch, Now,
it's funny because if you look at golf as a sport that is played outside, okay? So conditions affect everything, and not just the conditions, the weather conditions affect the ball and how they play. The conditions of the course based on the weather affect how they play as well. And you can see some of that. You see a lot of that now with a lot of these outdoor hockey games. Okay. They play indoors all the time. The ice is soft, the ice can be hard, but they play indoors. There's no conditions besides the softness or the hardness of the ice. You play outdoors, now all of a sudden you've got the temperature, you've got the wind, you've got the sun, snow on the ice, you've got the sun and the glare. There's all these conditions. Now as a professional hockey player what it's like to be a professional golfer and have to adjust your game, because you cannot play the same game outdoors in those conditions that you play indoors.
You better have your head up when it's sunny.
And tennis has to deal with the same thing when they're playing in stadiums where there's no indoor. They throw the ball up for a serve and the wind can gust, and it can cause problem. They're playing shots back into the wind, shots down with the wind. Cold temperatures, all of these things, clay courts, it's.
I mean, tennis is probably the only sport where they started to think the game serves were getting too fast, and they wanted to slow down the ball because it was fundamentally changing the style of game more than anything. But the problem is that again, that doesn't regulate down to the average person, and it also doesn't complicate things as much as it does in golf as far as separating the the product that they're using and so forth. So anyways, it's going to be very interesting to see the feedback. Obviously we're seeing immediate feedback coming from consumer level, from the manufacturer level, that seems to be bouncing against this. Whether the RNA or the USGA will think they can actually stand up to this, or will they modify what they're planning. Here's the thing. What happens, and this will be my last point on it, what happens if they do implement it and it goes into place, and something like the PGA Tour says, guess what, we're not going to use the modified local rule? Does that all of a sudden happen? Yeah, but does that all of a sudden basically, that what kind of rift is that going to cause between the USGA and the RNA and the PGA Tour? I
can almost guarantee you that the LIV Golf League's not going to implement it.
I mean,
we don't know for sure. I'm just suggesting that based on everything that LIV Golf stands for,
right?
I would say that it's highly unlikely that they're gonna say, "What? Forget that."
I mean, what's the thing that you hear?
Want.
What's the thing that you hear most about people when they go and watch a professional event? Yes, they'll talk about, oh, they made that putt, and oh man, they spun that ball close to the hole. They talk about how far they hit it.
Yep.
And that's really a big separator between the average amateur and the top pro. So, if you're talking about this being an entertainment product, and the entertainment aspect of the game is something that brings people to the game.
Yep.
Do you want to be a golf association getting rid of that? I mean, you're basically cutting your nose off if all of a sudden you're not going to make the game as exciting.
Yep.
Guess what? Participation numbers, you know what? Yes, I know some people just won't care, but there's a lot of people generally that would care, and it would make a difference for them. So if you're worried about the growth of the game, then think about the greater good rather than just worrying about the elite.
You're not going to grow this game by making it more expensive and making it more elitist than it already can be perceived to be. So my final take on this is, you want to put a regulation in place, start it as of today. Leave everything as it is. Don't change a thing.
Draw the
toughen
line.
the golf courses up if you want to toughen the golf courses up for the elite players. Design golf courses where the trouble is further away and forces those players to play less club to stay out of trouble if they want to win these big tournaments. Grow the rough up, tighten the fairways, make the greens faster, make the greens smaller, make the greens slopier. Whatever you want to do. One of the big things
only do those things
on those weeks.
The elite players, time. Don't implement huge costs that are going to affect the average everyday play.
I will say I heard one take, and I do agree with it, and I'll leave it at that. One of the things they can do on the PGA Tour, and I know that they do it at Augusta, is get rid of the green books. You want to read a green, get down on your hands and knees and read the damn green. You don't need a book to tell you all the slopes and everything. Just kick it old school. I don't like it. That's my opinion. I know you probably don't agree with me.
That's a whole other topic.
I don't like it.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, players will make notes. I mean, you don't really need to.
That's fine. Make your notes, but I mean, to sit here and have topography on all the greens and in your back pocket with your caddy when you're standing there reading the putts, it should, it's up here. It's what you see. It's in your notes maybe, but it's not like a whole big book, with all the slopes and topography and percentages and grades and degrees and all that crap. I'm not into that. Anyway, that's a different topic, different day, different podcast. And I don't know enough about it to have an argument. I just have an opinion that nobody really cares about. All right. Well, we're done on the golf ball discussion for the time being. It's a proposed thing. It's not a law. It's not a rule. It's not a fact. It's just a thing. So for the time being, leave it alone. Play your golf, buy your golf balls until someone tells you otherwise. It is what it is.
You got it.
Great show. Long show, but great show.
Yep.
I'm sure that the topic in the back nine was one that most people will take a listen to. So please do that. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Golf Sim Gurus. Our presenting sponsor again this week, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is premier Canadian destination, boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Top-tiered accommodations and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book those vacations at teatimes at golfpei.ca. Glad you tuned in. Glad you're enjoying what we're bringing to you. Be sure to follow us across social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and a little bit of TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. Lots of good stuff there, and lots of good stuff will be posted there, contests and so on that you'll only find there. Click the notification bell, like us, and make sure you never miss a single episode. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day, including the course openings that will be coming very, very shortly. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, and until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
And I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.